Hi class. So in this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and animate one scene of my animation. To do this, I will first create a new track above my animatic and try to clean up some of my lines and create different layers that I'm going to move independently. After that, I'm going to use some different strategies to animate my work. One is going to be the performance feature in Procreate, which allows you to capture movement that you do in real time in the app. Another is to use keyframes. So keyframes record the exact location or size or whatever property you're manipulating at two different time points, and then move smoothly in between them. Procreate will automatically ease this movement, meaning it'll be slow at the beginning, accelerate, and then slow down towards the end. This is generally speaking okay, but if it annoys you, you can go into the keyframe itself and change how it's behaving. And then finally, I will do a little bit of light frame by frame animation and loop that to create a rain effect. So let's get started. To begin, I'm going to separate out all of the things I want to move in my animation in this first scene onto different tracks. So in this case, I have waves, I have a boat, I have a character, and in retrospect, I wish I had put the actual fabric of my sail onto another layer as well. I end up using the warp tool later, but it would have been better to have a separate layer for it. So I'm going ahead and cleaning up all of my drawings. I want to be happy with them because these are going to be in the final animation. And once I have my character sort of placed on a layer above my boat, I want to make it look like she's sort of comfortably sitting. And I'm going to spread that character's layer out to be long enough for the whole scene. Now I'm going to do my waves. So I've drawn my waves larger than the actual stage so that I can move them like they're sort of rushing by using the performance capture feature. So this red square here, it's a white circle when it's not in use. You can click on this and then it will capture in real time whatever you do to that layer. So in this case, I'm going to move my layer with my finger, and the motion capture is going to record that. So you can go ahead and do that. It's a little bit out of control, I find, so that's fine for waves, but it takes a little bit of practice, I think. After I have completed that, I'm going to start coloring in all of my layers here. One of the things I found a little bit different about this program than other animation programs is that you cannot click into a grouped layer and paint on those layers. So you'll have to do some of your painting before you group things. So I'm going to group my character and my boat together later on. I also really recommend spending some time with coloring and making sure that you're happy with your colors. So for example, this scene, I'm going to use the colors I have here I'm going to put them into a palette and use them later in future scenes. So I've also finished coloring in my boat and character, and now I'm going to try to make this sail look like it's flapping in the wind using the warp feature. So I did this by clicking the clapper and then hitting warp and adding a few more nodes. More nodes means that I can try to affect the sail without affecting the boat. And I end up making this a little bit more extreme later on. What I can do is I can warp it and then move I'm also using performance capture here, so that warp is being recorded. Finally, I'm going to sort of frame by frame add some loose strands of hair on the character that are moving in the wind. And I chose to do this frame by frame because it's just easier to make something sort of random this way. So you can use a combination of all these different tactics to achieve an animation. Now, finally, I am going to start grouping together my boat and character. So I'll need to be in the sort of layer mode for this, which means that I'll have to click over to this layer panel with the two stacked layers, and then with an Apple Pencil, highlight both of these tracks, then hold and click group. And now when I hit this clapper and use the move and scale feature, I can create a keyframe that moves both of these tracks at the same time. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit move and scale. And I'm going to scale this down and move it over to the left to start the scene. And then move my playhead forward and change the location of my boat. So another thing I can do is I can click on these keyframes, which are below the track, and change features about them manually. So I'm going to change the rotation so it looks like this boat is sort of struggling to get over these waves. And this takes some fiddling with to get it to look sort of vaguely natural. I'm sort of going for like a paper cutout look here. So after that, I decided I want this whole scene to look like it's raining. So I'm adding a track above everything that is a low opacity black. And then I'm going to erase away little lines for the rain. And I will make a few layers of this, a few frames of this, something like 4 frames of this. And then once I have these frames, I'm going to again group them, and I'm going to copy and paste. So this is going to create a loop, and I will loop this out for the whole scene. Make sure that these loops butt up against each other. And for this final one, I'll trim it down so it doesn't exceed this scene. So if I'm happy with this, I am going to record these colors for future use in a palette. So going over to the color, I can start a new palette. I'll name it Project 3. I'll turn off that top rain layer so I can get these true colors, and just eyedropper tool all of them and add them to a palette. So of course, if you're changing from daytime to nighttime or anything like that, you can make a new palette, but it's nice to keep track of these colors so that you can sort of bring some unity to your whole piece. I will be finishing up this project at the same time that you are working on your Project 3, so let's figure this all out together. I can't wait to see what you make. Talk to you soon. Bye.